Hello YouTubers. Today I'm going to show you how I cut thick tabletops into telescope mirror blanks. I'm going to show you the whole process from a 40-inch tabletop down to a whole stack of blanks. I got a 16, two 14s, two 12s, and two 10s here, all made out of one tabletop. Some of these blanks are going to just be slumped over a convex mold to a certain radius of curvature. Some are going to go through a more complex process and cast into these more elaborate shapes. And I have a video where I show all the steps in the process of making these. I'll put a link up in the upper right hand corner. You can check that out if you like. But okay, let's get started. I'll show you how I made all these blanks. Okay, this morning, before it gets too hot out here, because it's summer in Florida and it's going to be about 95 degrees and 100% humidity later today, I need to get this big tabletop marked out for cutting. Now what I have here is a glass tabletop. It's 3/4 of an inch thick and it's just short of 40 inches in diameter, about 39 3/4, probably closer to 40, with considering it's got a rounded bevel on it. So just short of 40 inches in diameter. So what I want to do is I want to cut a bunch of circular telescope mirror blanks out of this tabletop. And I want to do it the most efficient way to get the most blanks out of it, the most useful blanks as well. Originally I was going to cut a 20 out of it, but really I am not set up for dealing with mirror blanks that big. My edging machine won't handle a 20. I don't have a slumping mold for a 20. So I think I'm going to just set the 20 aside for now, and I'll have to upgrade my equipment a little bit to deal with mirrors much larger than about 16 or 18 inches. So I'm going to set the 20 aside for now. So I've got 16, 14, 10, and 12 templates here. And what I want to do is I want to sort of lay things out so I can get as many of these size out of this piece of glass as I can. And then what I'll do is once I decide on the layout, I'll be able to cut the individual pieces out. Now that I've got my little Makita glass cutting saw, I'll be able to go between them and cut out the pieces and make them small enough, because there's no way I can get this on my big rigid saw over there, because it's just too big and heavy and awkward. Let me show you the rigid. There it is over there. Now I need to cut this up into smaller pieces to get it on the rigid, and then I can turn them roughly round on it. And then my edging machine will turn them perfectly round and get them to the diameter I want. But first, I've got to cut them out of this big sheet of glass. So since I'm not doing a 20, I think I can get two 16s out and still have room for two 14s. Well, I can get a 16 anyway. And maybe two 14s. A couple of 12s, and maybe a 10 or 2. I think there'll be an area in the middle where I can get a 10-inch out. And I may actually be able to get more than one 10-inch. So one 16, at least two 14s, at least two 12s, and at least one 10, maybe two 10s. So let me mark this out. I've got a Sharpie marker here. It says it's permanent. It's not permanent on glass. It comes right off glass. But if I get it, I'm gonna go over it with the Sharpie first. And if I get a layout I like, I'll go back over it with this paint marker, which is much more permanent on glass, especially when I'm cutting with a wet saw. This stuff will wash off with the wet saw. And when I cut them out, I'm gonna leave them a little big, leave the line on, so that I can actually turn them down to the exact diameter I want. Gotta leave them a little big in this stage. I also need to leave room for the saw kerf to come through and cut these out. So I can't have them butted right up against each other. Okay, so there's two 14s and a 16. Yeah, I'm just really not set up for doing 20s. I don't have a slumping mold yet for 20. 20 is about as big as will fit in my kilns anyway for slumping. But I've got a good handle on slumping 16s, so I can make thin 16-inch mirrors and pre-slump them to a useful curve for people. Yeah, I think I can get two 10s out of this. Eh, maybe not quite. Okay. Oh, that's a big piece of waste right there. Let's see, so that's 12. Do I want to get like 3 10s? Or 12 and 1 10 and have a big piece of waste. This is the conundrum. 12-inch mirrors are worth more, but I sell more 10-inch, so you know it's sort of a conundrum. Ooh, the 12 will fit up there, and then I can get at least two 10s out down here. Okay. That's a better layout. That is a better layout. That's going to work. Okay. So I still get two 12s, and I get two 10s. And I have less waste. Okay, that's good. My pen's about done, I think. But that's okay. I'm going to go over it with the paint marker. Yeah, that is much better. There's a whole lot less waste here. More efficient use of the glass. I love it. Alright. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to go over all these with the paint marker. And then I'll need to draw some lines where I'm going to need to cut with the saw to cut out all these circles, roughly, so that I can take them over to the rigid wet saw over there, and then just keep cutting the corners off until I've got something roughly round. Okay, good. I'll show you what this looks like after I get it all marked out in paint. Now that I've got it all marked out, and I hope these circles are showing up on the video, I need to mark out my straight cut lines, where I'm going to cut with my saw between the circles. So it's a little tight in places. Gotta make sure I stay on my lines and don't swerve into any of the circles. And that little saw, that little Makita saw, is kind of hard to control. I did a sort of a pseudo unboxing and review of it a little while back, and I'll put a link to that in the upper right corner. Anybody who wants to check out that. I mean, the saw works. It works great. It's just a little hard to control. And there's a few issues with it, but it works. Uh-oh, I think my paint pen is done. I'm going to have to get another one. Okay, here we go. I found a black one. It's brand new. So I'm going to get it flowing here, and then we'll... That's a nice line. Let me go over this one because it's kind of light. Yeah, that's a nice line. Okay. Cut up in here. Cross between these two. That's a lot of cutting. The Makita is slow, but I haven't found a better way to cut out these big pieces of glass so I can get them on my rigid wet tile saw over there. I mean, I just can't handle something this big on a saw. In fact, I think even half this big just isn't really workable. Uh-oh, that's not going to work. Let's try that again. Cut through a circle here. Okay. And then over this way. So, like I said, the Makita is very slow. So this is probably an hour or so worth of cutting. Maybe even more. To cut all this out. It may be spread out over a couple of days. I may just, cut out one or two, and then just for a break from running the Makita, go over to the rigid and circularize them, and then come back and cut out another one or two. This may be spread out over a couple of days because it's early in the morning, but it is already getting stinking hot out here. So I may have some indoor things to do later, just in the air conditioning. Might find some chores to do. All right, let me get set up to start cutting though. Alrighty, we get to cutting. Top off the Makita's water reservoir. The water goes pretty quick. I'll have to stop and top it off a couple of times, I'm sure, while I'm cutting. At least while I'm cutting out the first piece. And the battery life isn't fantastic either, so we'll see how far we get before I have to change the battery out. That might be another reason why this isn't all going to get done today, because I got two batteries. They're both fully charged, but I'm going to go through this first one fairly quick. Then I'll go through the second one, and then I'll have to wait for them to recharge. I'm going to wear gloves and a face mask while doing this. The gloves, well, for obvious reasons. Glass, there can be sharp edges. The face mask, because this is going to create a sort of a slurry of glass dust and water, and if any of that gets airborne, you don't want to breathe it and get that glass dust down into your lungs. It is not good for you. So, on with the mask. Okay, so let's see if I can do this without butchering this glass. Water on. Yes, it's slow, but there's no way I could score and snap this glass in this weird shape without having the brake lines go crazy every which way and ruining at least some of these circles. There's just no way to do it. This is the only way to do it as far as I can tell. Slow, but I won't ruin the glass. Top up the water reservoir. Okay, there's one cut. Okay, I'm going to do this cut next, and then this cut, and then this 16-inch piece should be free. First, I'm going to turn on my fan, get it blowing on me, because it is super hot out here, and I am starting to sweat. I haven't had it on because it's going to make a lot of noise, but I'll just time-lapse this anyway. You won't have to hear the sound. Oh, it's hot. See if I can start the saw in this way. My support wood out of the way here too. Don't want to be cutting into it. Still need to support this glass down here. Otherwise, it will crack. I think the battery's about dead. Let's swap it out. Okay, we got a fresh battery in it. Reservoir is topped up. Let's see if I can finish this cut. Oh yeah, cuts much better with a fresh battery. I need to look into higher capacity batteries for this Makita. These things just don't last very long at all. Granted, I am cutting glass, not wood, but still. Okay, something else to add to my review of this thing. When the reservoir starts getting low, the pressure over here is low, so it's not delivering very much water to the blade. And I can tell because it gets harder and harder to cut, the less water is getting to the blade. So really, I can't wait till this thing's empty before I top it up. Just when it starts getting low. I think what I am going to do is hook this up to a pressurized water reservoir with a long piece of hose, and hopefully that will eliminate that problem. Something like a pump sprayer, just fill it with water, pump it up, and run a long hose up and get rid of this. I think this would help with the balance problem on this thing too. Okay, the glass just cracked, but fortunately, it cracked in a good spot. There we go. There's the 16-inch out. Take this over here out of the way. Alright, so there's one. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to go. Actually, I think as I cut these other 5 out, the 6 will come out for free. So let me rearrange the support so hopefully this won't snap on me, and I'll try and cut this 14 out next. Okay, I forgot to hit record. I started cutting this line here. Moved the camera position a little. But the battery's dead. So that's as far as I got, about 4 inches. And the first battery hasn't recharged yet, so we're kind of dead in the water for the moment. This one's got to go on the charger once the first one's recharged. So this is why it's probably going to be a multi-day project getting this all cut up. But, you know, that's okay. I'm not in a huge hurry. I do have to go to Lowe's or Home Depot later today to pick up some stuff. I will look and see if they have any higher capacity Makita batteries. That would be nice. So I got the 16, the wedge containing the 16-inch circle I cut out on the rigid wet tile saw here. Let me get it plugged in. And I will show you how I turn this weird shape into something that is nearly round. Get the water running. There we go. And when I run the rigid, I'm going to use the same safety equipment before, mask, gloves, but I'm going to add a face shield because this thing does throw little bits of glass around, and I don't want one of them to wind up in my eye. So let me get all my PPE on here. Make sure we're framed up pretty good. And the basic principle here is I'm just going to cut the corners off. And then I'll cut the new corners off that makes. And then I'll cut those corners off. And pretty soon you wind up with something with a whole lot of little corners that's actually fairly round. And then from there, my edging machine can take it from there and make it perfectly round and exactly the diameter I want. I'm going to leave the line on, leave it a little oversized, let the edging machine bring it down to diameter. Not going to try a diameter on this. And as you can see, this machine goes through glass like a hot knife through butter. I love it. It's the best investment I ever made. And I got it cheap. I got it at a yard sale. I picked it up for a song because it didn't work. Well, that doesn't deter me. I can fix anything. The brushes in the motor were bad. I replaced the brushes. I've been using it for probably 5 or 6 years now. Great piece of equipment. You cut glass or tile, you need one of these. Well, okay. That's more than round enough for my purposes. Not perfectly round, but it's round enough. My edging machine can make it perfectly round. And I left it a little oversized, about an 1/8 outside the line. So it's going to be a little about a 1/4 oversized, diameter-wise. But, yeah, my edging machine can take care of that. But first, I'm going to slump this. I'm going to put it on a convex mold and slump it down so it takes on the shape of that mold. I will edge it after that operation because there's always a little bit of creep. Plus, the edge kind of rolls over a little bit, so I'll want a nice straight edge on it. So I will do that after I slump this 16-inch blank in the kiln. Then I will edge it. So it's just a matter now of waiting for the batteries to recharge so I can cut out another one or two and then turn them on this thing. It's like an assembly line. It's just a slow one, waiting on batteries. I went to Home Depot and they had one of these 4 amp hour batteries in stock. So this should last about double the length of the others that came with it, the little ones that came with it. Hope so. Alright, so now I've got 3 batteries, so hopefully I can get a decent amount of cutting done before I have to stop and recharge all of them. Okay, so let me rearrange the supports under here. You gotta think ahead when you're cutting glass. I got to support it so it doesn't break while I'm cutting it, but I also have to make sure that when this part does come loose, the whole thing just doesn't topple over because it's now too heavy on this side. I think we're probably good. Let me get my gloves on and I will finish cutting out this 14-inch piece with my new big battery. Just cracked. And yep, it went to the left, but it went right into my relief cut. So good. So there's a 14-inch one. And I'll take it over to the rigid and I'll do the same thing I did with the 16-inch. But I think, since I've got a good battery, I'm going to cut a few more pieces out first. Yeah, this new battery, I can tell it's got some oomph to it. Of course, it is new and fully charged, but yeah, it's got some oomph. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try and cut out this 12, and maybe this 10. We'll see how far I get today. Anyway, you're getting a general idea. I think you don't have to watch me cut everything out. I'll just give you a look at the pile of finished mirror blanks when I'm done. Well, so here's all the pieces cut out of the tabletop. I got 2 10s, 2 12s, 2 14s, and the 16 I cut out first and already made roundish on the rigid saw back here. So all these need to get the same treatment as the 16. Now the cutting of the rest of these pieces went pretty much without incident. It just cut out nice. And I did almost all of the cuts with just the new battery. It crapped out towards the end. I had to do the last 1.5 cuts with one of the older batteries, but still, that battery lasted a long time, and it had a lot of power to it. I could feel the saw had more oomph to it, especially when the battery was freshly charged. So this worked out great. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 7 blanks here, or at least I'll have 7 blanks once they're turned round. And I have a pile of 4 more over there that I did yesterday out of another piece of glass. So I'm going to be set with blanks for a while. My kilns are going to be busy. I'm going to be slumping, and then my my grinding machine is going to be busy turning them perfectly round after they get slumped. But next step is to get these on the rigid and make them round-ish. Alright, now that I got all the pieces cut out, it's just a matter of turning them around like I did the first one. This time I got all my PPE, including my hearing protection, the noise-canceling headphones. They are a wonderful thing. Get my mask on, face shield, headphones, gloves, the water turned on and running. There we go. So this is a 14 I cut out. And I'm going to make it round-ish. And there we are, 14-inch blank ready for slumping. Then I'll put it on my grinding machine and grind it to the correct diameter and give it a nice square clean edge and bevel it. I can do all that on my grinding machine. Anyway, I think you get the idea. I've got a stack of others to do over here, but you don't have to watch them all. In the end, I'm going to have 7 nice blanks, and we'll go from there. The other steps in the process to turn them into telescope mirror blanks. Okay, so that's how I do that. And I think I said up front that some of these are just going to get slumped over a convex form, probably the 16 and some of the 14s. And then some of these other smaller ones are going to get recast into some of these web-back mirror blanks here, lightweight web-back mirror blanks. Leave me some comments in the comment section if you like. Ask any questions down there. I will endeavor to answer them. Also, if you want to email me directly, you can go to my blog, mdpub.com, and find my email address there, and you can email me. I don't put it on YouTube because I get too much spam, but you can find it on my blog. So I hope you found this interesting, informative, educational. If so, give the video a thumbs up, give it a like, and subscribe to see future videos, and check out some of the other videos on my channel. I have a lot of videos already, but subscribe to see the future vids, and press the little bell icon that YouTube makes you press to get notified when future videos come out. And thanks so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye.